So I'm going to ask you about strategies for investing in the coronavirus vaccine, and then we'll try to get to a couple of the questions that are rolling in. But depending on someone's own preferences for risk versus reward balance, there are several different approaches an investor could take. They could buy a basket of all the stocks with candidates in phase 3 trials, or at least those that are trading on American exchanges. You could buy a basket with some of the phase 3 companies that kind of won from each of the different vaccine technologies. You could buy only the stocks with existing products in the market, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, AstraZeneca. Or if you're feeling really bold, you could go all in on some of the clinical stage biotechs that really will skyrocket if they're successful. Those biotechs are known for being pretty binary. What do you think about strategies? What are the benefits or drawbacks of some of these strategies? What would you say?
I would say to any investor, ask yourself, what is your tolerance for risk? I think that's going to dictate which strategy you pursue. If you are an investor who is very aggressive and you don't mind taking on risk and you've got a long time horizon and you're well diversified, uh, I would say you might want to take a look at some of these clinical stage stocks, particularly, you've got Moderna, BioNTech, and Novavax that are all clinical stage stocks that are leaders. They all have late stage candidates. And so I think you might want to consider those. But let's say you're not such a risk taker. If you're not such a risk taker, then going with stocks like Johnson & Johnson or Pfizer or AstraZeneca would certainly be something you're going to be more comfortable with than going with one of the smaller clinical stage biotechs. Now, as for the basket approach, I think it could work. But there's a scenario where it wouldn't work so well. All right. So here's the scenario where it would not work so well. Um, let's say you put money in the basket and you put an equal amount of money in these clinical stage biotechs as you do the big pharma companies like Pfizer and J&J. And let's say none of them is successful. None of the vaccines are successful. Well, all of the stocks are going to fall, but the small biotech stocks are going to crash. And so don't think just diversifying across a basket insulates you from risk. So there's still a possibility that it's not going to pan out.
There is no 100% strategy.
No,
Absolutely.
no.